I'm Bill Major. Welcome to Shaman Time. I'm inviting you once again to come in, settle down, kick back, relax, let your mind go, and let's see if we can take a trip together and learn about discovery. Discovery is something that happens instantaneously when you come along and it's completely outside of your previous experience. Anything that's not totally new is not a discovery. That's merely an extension of growing our resume of life. We add all kinds of things. We see different makes and models of cars, we meet people, we integrate their faces, their names. We even go so far as to collect things. Sometimes we're very litigious and we even document it. We write it down, we type it in, we build a database. Discovery, though, to actually go and find pure discovery can be done within ourselves at a spiritual level and an emotional level, as well as a physical level. I've given some consideration that our minds glom on or hold on to things more when we involve more of the senses. If we're tactile, that's the touching piece, and we're auditory, we hear, and visual, we see. The more of the senses that we involve in what's going on, the greater the chance of an aha moment and creating discovery. I certainly remember the first time that I touched a hot burner. I really discovered what it was to get burnt. An event of which I've not repeated because it was so painful. I'm leading toward this that not all discovery has to be painful like the burner. But yet we can have as strong as an experience of discovery as that tactile burn with the sense of touch in our minds and inside our heads. The flash that goes on in our brains when we touch and we pull back on the burner with that energy level and that impression can be gained without having to have the pain. I've even heard the expression, it's painful to gain this. It's painful. No pain, no gain. Well, maybe in the physical sense of bodybuilding, no pain, no gain. But you don't have to have pain to have discovery in an intellectual or spiritual way. A lot of us grew up on Bible stories or fables, or they handed down yarns that were spun by our aunts and uncles and even our nephews and cousins sometimes. Discovery is available to all of us. We merely turn our mind's eye into a direction of unknown or something that's not understood, or maybe something that's partly understood but yet has mystery involved with it. So not only are we going through the process of discovery, we're being led on and romanced by mystery, the unknown. And some things look magical. So not only now do we have the part about mystery, but things that appear unexplainable in the phenomena of which they happen and occur as we discover them. I'm sure that if someone struck a match for the first time and it flared up, you certainly were taken by it. But as they took out more matches and they struck them, over time, when it was repeated, the glamour and the mystery of it that you had the first time you saw it diminishes over the repeated performances of the same event. So the discovery can wane quite quickly from being the leading thing of our mind's eye and attention, and what our recall is attached to in the short term, because we move on to something else. And we move on because we have an insatiable appetite for learning. We're just geared that way. We're made to learn. We come equipped with all kinds of ways to learn. Our senses themselves, the basic senses, assist us to have input to learn and to recall and to comprehend. It's not till we move into the world of language and then written language that it becomes even more apparent that our ability to recall it's just phenomenal. It's not until we start becoming dependent upon outside sources of recall that it begins to become secondary in our primary activities of what we're doing in discovery. When we discover something, we catalog it. A lot of things about it. If you find a really beautiful stone, and I'm suggesting that this stone is just absolutely incredibly beautiful. It has its own fire inside of it, and it is an opal. And you can look at this opal and you can see the flames and the embers in it. Yet it's cool to the touch, and it is a stone, but a beautiful opal. The discovery of that opal for the first time, when you peer at it, and your eye begins to map and chronicle the shape of the surface or the shape of the stone itself, and there's a history that's running, a history tape in your head of any and all other objects that you've ever picked up that are beautiful. That could be jewelry or rocks or bottle caps or whatever. You start the comparison part, and as you discover this, you catalog it against what you already know, and then eventually what you've just done goes into the catalog pile itself, and then the next thing that comes along, you see how it relates to all those pieces. Now, discovery comes very quickly. We only have a moment in which we can find it and discover it, or it'll pass us by. What draws us to the given moment that has us choose discovery over passing by? What is that intuition piece that draws us to something that we can't explain? Why did I go into the toy box to find this particular object that I've played with before? And yet, there's something new about it. I begin to understand there's more to it than just how it was designed, that it's actually an integral part of a bigger system of things of play. What I'm talking about is if you have a train set with all the wooden blocks, and you have the wooden track, and the wooden trees, and the train station, when you find the train station in another location, away from all the other things that tie it together as the train station, you carry the previous experience of the train station with you, unless it's the first time you've seen the train station and you don't know that it can go with the train set. So how you treat it at that moment of discovering it's a train station and what you're doing with it to integrate it into your previous life experience to get it hooked up with the train set may not happen without some outside stimulus, or you continuing to remember the train set and the train station, and you go on out in life and you visit a friend's house and they have their train set up and they have the station set up, and then you got the aha moment. You discover that they belong together. Outside stimulus, observing an event, observing the configuration of something, provides the connection. Now, if we're talking about discovery, do we have to actually go somewhere special or physically to do discovery?